Hey everyone, I'm Alex. Thanks for clicking. And before we start today's lesson, I have some very exciting news. I have a new website and I have written an English phrasal verbs book for you to help you improve and practice your phrasal verbs. The name of the website is EnglishAlex.com. Once again, that's EnglishAlex.com. And the name of the book is 100 Practical English Phrasal Verbs. I think you're really going to love it, so let me explain a little bit about the book. You get 100 high-frequency phrasal verbs, over 900 examples, 20 lessons of context-based learning, and only the most common usages and multiple definitions. So if you want to improve your knowledge of phrasal verbs, if you want to practice your phrasal verbs, see common sentences, see phrasal verbs in context, check out the link in the description to this video, and you can pick up the PDF and ebook version of the book or the physical book. Now, on to the lesson where we learn the best way to learn phrasal verbs. So, when you're learning phrasal verbs, like with any vocabulary, you need to put it in context. Now, when you're learning a language, there are two ways you come across it. One, in the wild. So this means if you're having a conversation with someone, if you're watching a movie, if you hear a song and you hear a new phrasal verb or a new piece of vocabulary, you wonder, what does that mean? Okay, so you can come across it in the wild. Now, if you do come across a phrasal verb in the wild, that is, you hear it in a particular situation, in a movie, in a song, etc., you probably want to find out what that phrasal verb means. So if you can't ask the person you're talking to, if you hear it in a conversation, then you need to go out and find out what it means, probably on your phone very quickly, right? What does that mean? If you want to take a more proactive approach, so let's imagine you do not have a lot of people to speak English with. If you do not have a lot of people to communicate and learn English from, you can be proactive by picking up a book or going to a website, and you can pick an easy to remember example. So let's say today, you know what, I want to study and I need to improve my English phrasal verb knowledge. So you pick up a book or you go to a website and you say, okay, let's look at these 5 phrasal verbs today, or let's look at these 2 phrasal verbs today. So if you want to be proactive, the best way to learn phrasal verbs and to remember them, number one, is to pick an easy to remember example. I'm going to step away from the board for a bit. You can take a screenshot if you like to make that easier for you, if you like doing that. And I'm going to read a little bit. So for example, if you are trying to learn the phrasal verb put away, right? So to put away something means to place it in its appropriate place. And if you want to remember this phrasal verb, you might want to use a sentence like, put your phone away. Okay, and you remember this sentence, put your phone away, put your phone away. It's a common context because this is something that you might hear from a teacher, you might hear it from a boss at work, and it's easy to remember, put your phone away, put your phone away. What does that mean? Oh yeah, put it in its appropriate place. So put it in my pocket, put it in my bag. You have now placed the phrasal verb in context. You've given yourself an easy to remember sentence. Number 2, learn related phrasal verbs. Okay, so for example, I've given you some easy examples here. So learn the opposites of the phrasal verb that you're learning if an opposite exists. They don't always exist, but sometimes they do. For example, turn on, right, to activate something, turn on a switch, a light, a computer, turn off. Okay, so these are opposites, turn on, turn off. It's a simple example. Or number 2, you can learn similar or same phrasal verbs. So some phrasal verbs you can put together, right? So throw away, throw out, get rid of. all three of these phrasal verbs refer to discarding something. So you're like, okay, I have this group of phrasal verbs that can kind of be used in similar contexts and in similar ways, or they might mean the exact same thing, which is great because now you've kind of created a phrasal verb family. So you've put it in context, right? You found out what it means. You've given yourself a useful sentence that's easy to remember. Maybe you've learned and studied some phrasal verb opposites and related phrasal verbs. Now, what next? Well, you can either study, which has been proven that if you cram means try to compress a lot of information in a short amount of time, like if you study the night before a test, this doesn't really work for long-term memory. If you want something to stick in your long-term memory, you have to practice something called spaced repetition. So let me step away from the board one more time. Now, spaced repetition means, let's say you come across the phrasal verb throw away today, and you learn what it means. You give yourself an example, and you think, great, throw away. Okay. Now, don't just keep saying throw away, throw away, throw away, throw away, and then forget about it forever after the first day. Don't study it for 2 days and then never think about it again. Now, what you want to do, the science of this says you should study on the first day, give yourself a break, study it 2 days later, study it on a third day, take a longer break, study it on the 7th day, take a week off after that, study it on the 14th day. So the longer you slowly start expanding the amount of time that you're taking between looking at the phrasal verb so that it cements itself in your long-term memory. That's the goal of spaced repetition. So this, again, has been scientifically proven to help increase the chance of you remembering and recalling information, whether that is vocabulary or grammar or anything else related to language learning. So, one more time. To learn phrasal verbs, the best way, put it in a context. Did you hear it in the wild? If you heard it in the wild, go find out what it means, if you can, right? If you hear it in a movie, you can pause the movie. You can look at your phone, say, come across. What does that mean? Okay, come across. Okay. Or if you don't want to wait to hear phrasal verbs and you want to be proactive with your learning, if you want to say, I'm going to learn phrasal verbs, let's study, let's learn some, you can, find the definition in a book, find the definition online, and then pick an example that's easy to remember for you. So, like I said, what did I say about your phone? Put your phone away, right? Good. Learn related phrasal verbs. So this means learn the opposites if they exist. Learn related phrasal verbs that are similar or the same if they exist. Again, they don't always exist, but sometimes they do. And then if you can, I know this is difficult because spaced repetition, you might have to set it on your calendar. Not everybody can do this. We're all very busy people. But if you can do this, this is the best way to remember phrasal verbs, remember new vocabulary, and store it into your long-term memory. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. And one more time, I want to tell you guys, I am very, very excited that I finally have a website where you can learn more English. I have free blog updates over there where you can see, idioms, phrasal verbs, anything that comes to mind that I think will be beneficial to your English knowledge. And you can buy a copy of my first book, 100 Practical English Phrasal Verbs. One more time, it has 100 high-frequency phrasal verbs, over 900 examples, common sentences, 20 lessons of context-based learning, and only the most recent usages, the most common definitions. So you won't hear stuff in my book about, a phrasal verb that was used 100 years ago that nobody uses anymore. Only the most current usages, because I want this book to be useful for you. That's why I called it 100 practical English phrasal verbs. Because language, well, you have to be able to use it. And if you go to EnglishAlex.com or click on the link attached to this video description, I promise you, the book will give you language you can use. So till next time, thanks for clicking.